Aloha! This is my last day in Maui. I learned this time that aloha not only means hello, but it also means love, which I thought was such a cool concept. So I've enjoyed my trip here in Maui. I found this cool bamboo wall to record this video. I hope the waves aren't too loud, because I'm actually looking at the ocean this morning. I chose to look at the ocean for just another few minutes while I just reflect on how amazing this trip has been. Yesterday went really well because I started out my day with gratitude. I wrote 5 things that I was grateful for, and that really helped me. It helped me just have a much more positive approach to my day. When we start with gratitude, you kind of can't help but feel filled up. And when we feel filled up, we feel happy, and we feel like we have something to give to others. And so my day yesterday was really special. I was up at 7 and nobody else was up till about 8:30, which allowed me to do my meditation. And during my meditation, I learned about listening to others and how we need to learn to listen to our own thoughts before we can really listen to others. Most of the time we are listening to other people, we're thinking about our response, or we're criticizing them in our minds, or judging, or we're just plain letting our thoughts trail off, so we're not fully listening to people when they're talking. And so my practice of meditation is going to be focused on listening to my own thoughts and learning how to let them go, and learning how to be more focused so that when I'm talking to other people, especially the people that I love, I'll be able to listen and be more present for them. Yesterday I used the intention tracker, and it's pretty cool because it has all these categories. Today I will be, feel, do, appreciate, let go of, and attract. And it was interesting to start my day with this. So under B I put happy, kind, fun, funny, loving, adventurous, curious, conscious, a good listener. Under feel I put happy, accomplished, loving, kind, and relaxed. Under do I put kayak, snorkel, rest, read, pack, boogie board, and swim. And I don't know if you'll find this funny or not, and it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but I'm a little bit afraid of the ocean. The first time I came here to Maui, I didn't really understand the power of the waves, and so I just ran out into the waves, much how I approach life sometimes. And this wave came in, and it wasn't even a huge wave, but a good-sized wave, and it just hit me straight on, and it took me into the wave and churned me up like I was in a washing machine and slammed me down into the sand. And I heard my neck pop, and I thought I got a fat lip, and when I got up, everybody was like laughing because I think they didn't know I was hurt, and they were just wondering what the heck happened. But I did not understand the power of those waves. And so that was super scary for me. So like that fear has still 20 years later lives in me. Like I understand what can happen if you get inside that wave wrong. So almost every trip to Maui, it takes me almost until the end of the trip to get over some of that fear and get out there and boogie board and all that stuff. And it is so much fun to boogie board. If you've never boogie boarded, especially in Maui, you have to do it. It is you feel like such a kid again. So anyways, yesterday writing these intentions really helped me because I knew that I wanted to do those things because I had written them out. And so when the fear came up, I was able to kind of push myself a little bit so that I didn't feel disappointed at the end of the day, because I knew I really, truly wanted to get over that fear. So I actually went out in the kayak, I snorkeled, I rested, and I read, and I packed. Those are all not as fun, but those are things I wanted to do. We went out there in the kayak, and we were just, it was a little bit wavy, and we had kind of gone far out to be in a good position to see whales. And I started to get those butterflies, okay, we're a little far out, let's turn around. And so I asked Eric to turn us around, and yes, that was a response to the fear, but that's okay, we stayed out there. So we went over by a reef, and I just felt like I was more present in the moment for my meditation, and I was just looking and enjoying and looking down in the water. And I actually had my polarized sunglasses on, and I saw this sort of light, round kind of reflection under the water. And I looked, and then I looked again, and I totally saw that it was something. Like, I knew it was something because it went from one place to another, and I was paying attention and more mindful of what was happening. And I said, Derek, we need to follow that. I think it's a turtle. And because it kind of had that big round shape. And sure enough, we were kayaking along just very slowly, right alongside a turtle. And he came up and he breathed right next to our boat, and it was just so cool. He was so big, and his head was like this big. And so that was a really cool moment. And then just maybe 20 feet away, we saw another snorkeler snorkeling around on the reef, and he popped his head up and it looked like he was doing something, diving down. So we asked him, like, hey, what are you looking at down over there? And he said, oh, this really cool thing. There's these pieces that are non-poisonous on these certain type of sea urchins, and there's a whole bunch of them down here, and if you take them, you can write on the lava rocks. So we're going to write a little message. He actually offered 2 of them to us, so he swam them over to our boat and gave them to us. And so the point of the story is I just feel like I was much more present, and I was more open, and I felt more loving and full. So I felt like I wanted to visit with people and like discover and be adventurous. And so that was a really special kind of manifestation of how when we start our day off right, amazing things can happen. We align our thoughts, we connect to, and my daughter said it yesterday, source energy. And so when we meditate and we invite in these, the energy, when we meditate and we focus very intentionally on what we want to do and how we want to feel, we actually invite in that energy. And my friend Gisela and I had a conversation yesterday. We've been coming at the same time every year, and we really got acquainted this year. And I stopped by her condo and we sat and had a conversation. And it was interesting because I've been really praying about like my energy and how I respond to people who are mean-spirited sometimes. That is something that I'm sensitive to, and I've had a lot of experience with it, with some issues with bullying all throughout my life. And as we were talking, somehow the topic of taking a light bath came up, and she shared with me this concept of when you go to bed at night, to imagine your head as a lotus flower, a big open flower, and imagine the brightest light that you can imagine coming down through the top of your head and bathing your whole body very slowly in light, all the way down to your feet. And then she said, and I had amazing visions in my head when she said this, and then you cut off your feet, in your mind of course, and you allow all the negativity and the dark energy to flow out. And then you put your feet back on, and then you allow the light to continue down through your toes. And then you fall asleep. And so you've let all the negative energy come out and all this positive, bright light energy come in. And then she said, when you wake up in the morning, and I can't remember how she described it exactly, but she said, I envisioned it as a bubble of protection with like a shell around me, like a clear bubble of protection. She said, you wrap yourself up in this bubble of protection, and then when you go anywhere, you can share that light. A bird just landed over there. Huh. It's peeking at me over the bushes. Interesting. And so you imagine that bubble all around you, and when you go anywhere, you just imagine like any negative energy just pinging and bouncing off of the bubble, and you don't let it in. And I thought, what a cool concept. And she told me it'll change my life. So I'm starting to use that, and I hope you use that, and then maybe we can comment how it's changing our experience. Especially if you're very sensitive to energy. I tend to be very sensitive to energy, and I've at times allowed myself to take in other people's comments about that as if that was a negative. And I now tell my girls that it's a gift to be sensitive. I believe we need much more sensitivity in the world. More people willing to be open and loving and caring and tender with each other. I feel our world is really lacking in that area. So I think the meditation really worked. I know it worked. It allowed for this connection with my friend to talk about this amazing tool that I now have in my toolbox to use to protect my energy. And this white bird is hopping all along the bushes right here next to me watching, and he keeps peering around and looking at me. It's so cool. I think more things are going to happen like that. The more that I focus intentionally on love and energy, I think nature is connected to that source energy much more naturally, I think, than we humans are. We are traveling today, so my intentions are very simple, just to stay positive, to give love. I'm going to put the bubble of protection around me in case anybody's a crabby traveler. What else? And then I already called our fitness trainer. For years, my daughter never wanted to work out with me, and I would come here to Maui and she wouldn't want to run or do any of that. And this is my college-age daughter, and now she's really focused on getting in shape for track, because she's going to do track when she gets back to school, spring term. So I'm super excited that she wants to, improve her fitness. And so I've called our trainer and I've asked for body composition testing so that we have a benchmark going forward into the new year. So we're making an appointment to do that when we get back. And I will continue to share with you our journey, both our fitness journey, and I'll let you know how the bubble of protection and the light baths are going, and I hope that you use that concept too. And let's share comments about how we can continue to grow ourselves in the new year. Thank you for following along. In Hawaiian, it's mahalo. And much love and aloha to you. And I will see you stateside.